This is Tech Pulse, the show that keeps you in step with the technological world and one step ahead of everybody else. I'm your host, Hartley Reginald Smith, the second. Start the show.
Also, the new Nokia Lumia X series smartphone may have high-definition display screen, and Samsung's SMP 905 tablet is looking to be a 13-incher. All this and more coming up today on Tech Pulse. All right, Tech Pulse for July 23rd, 2013. And of course, this is the show where you get the show that keeps you in step with the technological world while keeping you one step ahead of everybody else, starting with the top stories of the day. So we're going to start right off with our top story, talking about the story that we talked about earlier, talking about Freeview. Now, many of you may say, oh, what is Freeview? Freeview. But Freeview is Sony's, well, let me see if I can explain this here a little bit. Because Sony over in the UK has a recording service that people over in the UK use, and they discovered a major flaw that allowed the Sony's DVD recorders to start malfunctioning. Now, Freeview is a product that carries television channels, DTTV services, trading as Freeview, and the name of the company that provides a collection of free-to-air services on digital terrestrial television, or DTT, the platform in the UK. The service is jointly run by 5 equal shareholders: BBC, ITV, Channel 4, and Sky. Although it's not a service, it's a product, and the product was released in 2002. So that's what Freeview is. And now, according to the BBC in the UK, Sony's Freeview service had a little bit of malfunction coming up over the weekend, and Sony had to address that. And the BBC News Technology reports that Sony posts a Freeview recorder lost channels fix over the weekend. So Sony had issued the details of how to fix a major technical issue that had caused several of its DVD recorders to lose access to Freeview TV channels. Now, this is, like I said, this is a service over in the UK. We don't know if Sony has any plans of bringing it over here stateside, but dozens of owners had written to the BBC to complain that a software malfunction had caused their devices to stop receiving or recording Freeview channels on Friday. Now, this service allows people to pause TV, kind of just like a DVR service. You can pause TV, you can record, you can rewind, you can do stuff like that. The Freeview service allows them to do that, and it also gives them some HD TVs. And, of course, it's built into Sony DVD recorders. And many Sony DVD recorder owners complained to technical support staff, complained that technical support staff didn't work on the weekend, so there's nothing they could do all weekend. Now, Sony has now blamed the problem on corrupt broadcast data, they said. It has recommended affected consumers unplug, then reconnect their devices. If this does not correct the problem, it suggests they carry out a full factory reset. Full instructions have been posted on the community forums for Freeview. Now, Sony's own support forum, as well as other independent online sites, was filled with complaints from irate users over the weekend who had this problem but wasn't able to get technical support from anyone because the technical support doesn't work weekends. Now, it may already have come to your attention, this is what they're saying over at Sony, to your attention that thousands of owners of Sony DVD units have completely lost all their access to Freeview channels. That's the guy who was over at the BBC. He wrote this to the subscribers. And Graham Johnson from Oxford added, there are thousands of people affected by this, many of whom, like me, have wasted hours today trying to retune and repair their machines. Many folks, it seems, have also been out and bought new ones to compensate. On Saturday, a customer support agent tweeted that the issue had been flagged to a dedicated team but provided little other information. Now, early speculation centered on the possibility that the problem had been caused by a firmware update, but the Japanese firm later said it was caused by something that had changed in the way that the devices are receiving electronic program guides data from Arquivia. So on Monday, which is yesterday, Sony added that it was now working with the communications infrastructure company and broadcasters to remedy the problem. But in the meantime, it suggested affected users carry out the following steps. First, turn the machine on and eject any disks. Then press stop, the stop button on the recorder. While still holding it down, press and release the on/standby button. And then release the stop button as well. This resets the machine, deleting the computed data. Owners should then follow the on-screen instructions to retune the machine, selecting Data Guide rather than Guide Plus when given the choice. Now, of course, when you do this, all of your data that you have on the recorder is lost. And, a lot of people are irate. But here's what you have to understand about technology. Here's what this is one thing that, a lot of people really don't get in the technological world. A story like this comes out and people are immediately, oh man, Sony is doing this, Freeview is doing this, Arquivia is doing that. It doesn't benefit these companies to have faulty equipment. It doesn't. So you have to assume, or you have to know, that they're going to do their best to come out with equipment that's going to work. And when they do have a malfunction, it's always inconvenient when the malfunction is you. You can have cable channel 364 days of the year, but the one day the channel goes out, you're looking like, man, this thing has gone down and whatnot. And, you always have to be prepared that this sort of thing will happen. You always have to be prepared. Yes, no one likes having their data wiped. No one likes having all of their saves and all of their stuff gone. But when you're dealing with technology, when you're dealing with things in the technological world, these things are bound to happen. And that's why, as much as possible, you try to have backups. Now, in situations like this, like let's say with Netflix or with Roku or with something like that, you really can't have backups of all your shows. You really can't have that backed up necessarily, because that's on their server, so there's not much you can do. So, what companies can do is provide you with a way of backing these things up. So should something like this happen, you don't have to retune everything and re-download everything, because if something happens to the Netflix servers and all of my saved programs disappear. I have over 160 or 150 saved programs on Netflix right now, all in the InstaQueue. And if something happened to the Netflix servers right now, I would have to go and find all 158 of those programs back, and that's a lot of work. So yes, it's inconvenient, but at the same time, this is what technology is all about. You have these glitches. No matter how you try to plan for it, no matter how you try to avoid it, you're going to have glitches that, especially in this kind of way where a lot of your saves are gone and things like that. That's a part of technology. That's a part of having things recorded. That's a part of what technology brings. You have a phone, you have a computer. You can try to back up your data as best you can, and that's why the 3-2-1 rule is always in effect. 3-2-1 rule when it comes to backing up systems. If any of you knows, or maybe you don't know about the 3-2-1 rule, 3-2-1 rule is you have to have 3 sources that you back up your data on. 3 sources. 2 of them off-site, and 1 of them in the cloud. That's the 3-2-1 system when it comes to storing or backing up your data. That's the 3-2-1 system. You have 3 areas where you store your data, 2 of them off-site, and 1 of them in the cloud. That's how I would get my head around trying to back up data. Because when you have 2 off-site, that means your PC, like my computer right here, I might have stuff saved on the computer. So that's 1 area where I have it saved. two areas. Then the next thing, I have to have two places off of the computer where I'm saving it. One of them in the cloud, because let's say I have an external DVD burner and I save my, not burner, an external hard drive, and I save all my stuff on that. What happens if the hard drive is stolen? What happens if the hard drive is dropped? What happens if the hard drive is corrupt in some way? Then I still lose all that data. So if I have one in the cloud, at least even if this one is stolen or lost or damaged in fire, water, whatever, I still have it backed up in the cloud in the area where, chances are it's not going to get damaged or it's not going to get corrupted. So that's how you want to think of it. But when stuff like this happens with the Freeview, same thing can happen with Netflix. And for those of you that don't have Freeview service, think of the same thing happening to your Netflix account or your Hulu Plus account. That's what these people were going through. But in the end, when you're dealing with technology, and that's one thing that I've learned, when you're dealing with technology, you just have to roll with the punches. And companies are not purposely trying to misuse your data or purposely don't care about your data or anything like that, because it doesn't benefit them to do that. And so a lot of people, the first thing they'll think is, man, Sony, they're terrible, they should have done this, they should have done that, because your inconvenience. And many of those people in the UK now, with this Freeview, this firmware update, they're saying, or Quivia is to blame, and they're saying this firmware update caused the Sony DVD recorders that had Freeview service, caused them to lose not only access, but corrupted their, corrupted the DVR itself. And so many people lost all of their saves, lost all of their recorded programming and stuff like that, and wasn't able to receive any HD Freeview channels or any HD or any channels from Freeview to begin with. So a lot of these things, when it comes to technology, you have to be flexible. You have to be flexible when it comes to technology. You have to understand that technology is going to act up, and that's why you have to be proactive. You can't just put your trust fully in technology, because if you do that, when things happen, you're just going to be devastated. So, this is something that we're going to have to see how Sony responds from this, one, and how what people, the subscribers, learn from this, not tragedy, but from this mishap that happened with their Sony DVR services. Now, coming up after the break, a new Nokia Lumia 6 series smartphone may have a high-definition screen. We got some news on that, and Samsung's SMP905 tablet. If you're in the market for a bigger tablet, if the 10-inch screen isn't big enough for you, you might want to check out the Samsung SMP905 tablet and see if this thing is for you. All of that and more is coming up today on Tech Pulse. So just stay tuned right there. We'll be right back.